Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Guess what today is? Greg, guess what we're doing? We're live. I used to say that to Greg all the time, and he hated it. So I changed it because, But guys, we're talking about something wicked smart today. Well, we're talking about really fun things, and it's going to be a great conversation. We are talking about work environments. I know it sounds like an easy topic, but it's actually pretty interesting. You know me, and let me bring on who's this? Did I do it right? Oh, no, hold on, Greg. There. And you got sound.
Hey everybody, I'm Greg with Original 72 Creative, and we're a full service website graphic design and digital marketing firm in Vancouver. Welcome!
Yay! I'm so Greg, the first question, of course, is did you clean up your workspace?
Absolutely not.
You didn't?
No,
Okay, so um
I'm too busy to clean up right now.
yeah, right. It's busy time. I actually gonna start playing with cameras. I speaking of work environment, Greg, I don't know if you can see in my background, but I have kittens. So that makes it distracting. We're gonna talk about. Okay, I got the list for us, guys. I got the list. If you want to chime in, it's gonna be really fun. We're gonna talk about what to consider. We're getting into distractions. Uh, Marketing tools for your environment. Yes, Greg, we went through this, guys. We talked a couple days before, so this isn't just off the cuff. And then maximizing efficiency. Something we're both amazing at, right? Um,
For sure. It's
right.
my forte.
So let's.
I actually am quite good at just naturally knowing
Yeah,
how to order things and what to do first.
I
I think it's just in my DNA. Either you're born with it or you're not. You're just good at maximizing your time, I think.
I can get distracted. No word of a lie. Like it does. And I've seen some people like I have a friend Janet. She's super great at creating files in her like top menu of her browser um, file systems for bookmarks. It's brilliant. With I think you might do that too for client work. So today, Greg, we're not just talking about like I mean it's funny because our conversation went in a couple directions when we talked on Tuesday, and one of them was not just the our surroundings, which guys, Greg, you should see his surroundings, um, but
No,
we're
you
also
should.
talking about maximizing efficiency, which is really interesting and like the things to consider, right? So I just find it interesting because we went all the way to our desktop and how we manage it and how we file things and store things in it to make maximum efficiency, right? I don't know if you're that efficient. Are you that efficient?
I I like being very efficient and organized, but like I said, I was gonna describe myself as organized chaos
Okay. Oh, that's right.
because things are kind of a mess, but there's an organization to the mess. While it looks messy by like when you look at it, it is actually all of the mess is in specific places that I know.
Organized chaos. I used to have a boss who thought you couldn't get your job done unless your desk was super organized. And that works really well for some people. But I mean, I'm a note taker slash animal lover, so I try to work within distraction sometimes.
Yeah, that's a pretty important note to make is that there's not one
Way,
perfect efficiency or method for each person. Like it's going to be different depending on how you work.
right?
And everybody is different. You like what works for me might not work for you or someone else. So it's really about finding what works for you
Yeah.
and what doesn't work for you.
Yeah. And being able to share that, I mean, as we grow. So we're talking mostly today, I believe, to marketers and some business owners that work from home, maybe doing marketing, marketers, and how to be efficient in your marketing business and in your environment, right? So uh I think both of us don't believe in working in our bedroom if you can help it. If you have a one bedroom or you're it's super cramped, maybe that's your only choice. But separate room for work, but you can use it as a storage room, guys, because that's what Greg does.
I don't think I would ever work in the bedroom.
Some people,
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you have a bedroom, that means you have a main room. So go in the main room
yeah,
and
yeah,
have something set up in there. Don't stay in your bedroom.
yeah. I mean, that just, I think that's a good thing to consider to get some separation. So I think this is important, right? Your partner is working in the same house as you right now because of COVID, and she's not in your office because you two determined what would work for you because you work at different companies, right? So I thought that,
Yeah, different companies. So we're talking to different people about different things, as opposed to like if I had someone working with me, it would be easier to have them within the same office space so you could like turn around and ask them questions, or even if I'm talking to a client and they're just working there, at least it's something that relates.
yeah,
And unless it's a private conversation that needs to be had, then you'd want to step out and be somewhere where you're not around them. But there's almost I would say, an efficiency, especially if the person working with you needs to be privy to the information that you're talking to a client about. They kind of hear it secondhand, and when you talk to them later about it, they've already, oh yeah, I overheard you
yeah.
talking about that. Okay, yes, let's do that, or what have you. So
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
drawbacks and benefits.
look who's here. Trevor's here. Yay. Yeah, guys, make comments about how you work too, because Greg and I, we work in different environments, right? I have Phelan here, and we do work together, and it does work that way. However, we also have to determine things like no talking about work at this time or after this time because we've actually gotten an argument. And it was just like, this isn't, and so we're partners in love and crime, if whoever doesn't know that. So, it's a thing. And so, yeah, the, in your own environment, I think just things to consider are things like good solid communication if you have a partner, like, and being really open. Ooh, I think that's so good. What's Trevor saying? He's saying there's tons of psych studies out there regards to sleep anxiety that would say to keep your work out of your bedroom. Definitely 100%. um, just having some separation. I've even gone so far as to, I'm in a mastermind and they kind of teach this, actually. It's kind of cool. But to put your hours in your calendar, like in hour boxes with little bits of time in between, so that you take more time to do things so you can get them done, so you're not always rushed, right? But you're rushed and then you understand how little time you really have, right? So, and how much you have to get done. And I don't know about you, Greg, but things are busy and it's a little overwhelming sometimes, right? If you don't have certain strategies in place. This takes us right to our next point. I'm so excited about that, which is distraction. Um,
Right.
this is huge. Now, I think you're better than me because I used to, if you look at how your own behavior is, I would do a task and then I slide over to Facebook, slide, and so I only keep open what I'm working on so that I have to manage my environment because I can be a distracted bunny,
Mhm.
hopping everywhere. But you don't have to do that, do you, Greg? What do you do? What do you
No.
do? What do you guys do?
What do you mean slide over to Facebook? Like you just like when you finish something, you hop on Facebook and see what's going on, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah. It'll be a
get into your next task.
yeah. I'll just do a scroll, check things out. I like when people are asking questions in the
I
group.
don't know if I would suggest what I do. Like I have Facebook pretty much open all day,
Mm.
every day,
Why are you working?
while I'm working.
Okay. Are you? Is
There,
that because?
so there's a couple of reasons why. Is because I use well one I like to see or hear what's going on in Cyberpunk Geeks.
Yeah.
And secondly, there's a lot of groups that I'm in on Facebook for what I do. So for the theme frameworks that I use, the WooCommerce. So when I'm working, I'm obviously using that as a resource. So I typically just have it open all the time, and I go and I'll ask a question or I'll look something up. And that's not only Facebook, but that's like all kinds of things that I have marked in my browser to go to for help and resources on development and things like that.
Oh. Hey, Bonnie's here. Hey, Bonnie. Bonnie's saying I keep Facebook open all day. Interesting. Well, I can't. I'll go back and schedule out times. Like when Tuesday's my day to be the moderator, I'll keep it open longer then. But I just can't. I'm in analytics, guys. I'm in analytics. Anyway, so distractions. I close everything and only open the tools that I'm using. Well, I mean, there are a lot, but they're different tools. They're not Facebook, right? But there are a lot of Facebook groups I do go to for SEO and PPC, which is fun. Yeah, and uh, Joe is saying he totally does what I do, right? Because it's important. Um, Diagnosed with ADHD. Oh, that's another important point, Greg. Like different things are different things. Different people are coping with different things in their home environment. So not to discount if you don't have a place to work and you have to work in a closet. We do what we need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and what works best for us. I think yeah, there was a small caveat at the beginning. Do what you need, right? But so is there a way okay, so Greg makes images, guys, for some clients. How do you store those images, Greg? Like, you have a file folder for every client on your desktop? Is that how it works?
Not on my desktop, but on my computer, I have a company folder and everything company or business related for Original 72 is somewhere under that folder. And under that, I have like accounting things, marketing things, a client folder. And in my client folder, I have one separate folder for every one of my clients that stores anything I do or have received from that client. And I use their domain name as the unique
Mm,
folder name for each client because the domain name is unique. Even if I have multiple domains for a client, to be able to separate assets
yeah.
for each job, I'll have that client's folder multiple times for whatever website I'm doing it for or graphics I'm doing it for. So it doesn't get cluttered under one client
Interesting.
name with multiple projects or websites or.
Yeah. See, we do everything in Google Drive. We put everything there. That's our hub to share all the information. So it's because the cloud works better for us if we're getting other people to do things. Easier to download pictures, easier to find pictures that you have for clients if you're working on different computers, if you move around the house and work extra hours, and
I will say one thing. Dropbox is something that a lot of people use
yeah.
and share stuff to me with. And every um, company that uses Dropbox and shares with me has a folder that's called like images for Greg or something like that. So it's difficult for me to go to Dropbox because every folder that's been shared to me is like images for Greg or photos for Greg or something like that. I'm like, I don't know which client
You
it
are.
is. So I have
uh,
to go into a couple. I'm like, okay, those are the photos for whatever.
I think, I don't know, I bet you everyone in here has stuff on their desktop. I don't, there's a thing, oh my god, I don't know if you know this. Well, this is maybe for Apple users, but if you right click, you can there's something called use stacks. And so it used to be, Phelan showed me this. It used to be I had pictures all over, because I take screenshots and things, and I know some people use like what was that elephant app thing? Uh
The elephant app?
it was like the logo was kind of like an elephant because of memory. It was green. Um, it's like you could save pictures. Anyway, I'll go find it, and I'm not a crazy person, I promise. um, Bonnie's making a folder that says the name's Greg. Oh yeah, for Greg. That's Bonnie. I
Nice.
love you. That you just made my whole day. I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna be like pictures for Greg. Sorry,
I'm
Greg.
gonna have like 20 folders for Greg and have to
Yeah,
go through every one of them to figure out which
right.
client.
The append name, so you can also like save all. We have to download things from our clients, and then because we do SEO stuff, we want to save those files with specific names sometimes, especially the client name at the end. Um,
Yeah.
and so we just update all the pictures names like with a prefix. That's the prefix, and then the suffix is after. I also date things. I'm really neurotic about my Google Drive and how the dates go because that will organize how you're viewing your documents. They'll all be in sequential order. It's like I do have some neurotic tendencies for sure. Um,
I have a I think it's minor, but it really annoys me when people use spaces in file names because I mean I'm older.
you're old.
I
You
grew
say
I
you're
grew
old?
up in the world, where in programming a space
Is that
um,
sure?
couldn't be used,
What?
right? So you had to name images without spaces, with a dash or a hyphen
Mm-hmm.
or an underscore or something like that.
Yeah,
And so I still to this day will always
I do hyphen.
create my file names with either a dash or an underscore
Yeah.
in them. And I get really annoyed when I see spaces in file names
Usually spaces are interpreted as an underscore or a dash, right?
for maybe for SEO purposes, but
Mm. When I save files, usually it's really interesting actually because I don't use periods, right? Like some people will save files and it'll be like dot something, and I'm like that
yeah,
means
because the dot has always signified it's a file name dot extension. So if you put like old in the old days of computers, when you found that dot, it didn't understand. It thought there was going to be a file extension, and then it was like, I don't know what
yeah, I don't know.
type of file this
Yeah.
is. So, I mean, we've progressed, but I don't like dots either. I just like characters.
And no up and down
Numbers
text,
or
like
what's
no
that?
you don't want to capitalize things, and not capitalize things. It were because well, in Google when you say save a blog post and you capitalize one letter in your URL, that's different than a lowercase. So you got a naming convention. So this actually takes us to our final point, and I guess a part where we'll dig in a lot more. It's tools in maximizing efficiency. So last 2 points, but
Mm.
naming conventions are huge for how you do it for yourself, right? Because that's how you're easily going to find files. And now, if we look at our behavior, I mean, even though we file things, the easier way to find things on our computer, because there's probably so much information, is by searching for it, like just typing the file name, right? Who doesn't do that now? And we can see the same thing on Google, where it used to, you didn't used to have a photos, a video tab, a shopping tab, like Google's got all the options. You know what I'm talking about, Greg? You're looking at me like I'm mad.
Yeah, I know. So
I'm like, so to maximize efficiency, filing systems are key, which means hiring somebody that knows how to file really well or is a systems person. That would, I think, be one of my first hires, right?
yeah, just in general, like knowing and having set up your file structure of how you're going to organize your company files and assets and your clients'
Yeah,
files and assets as you get them. If you do it properly from the start,
yeah.
um,
You know what teaches good naming?
you won't have to search for things anymore because you'll know, okay, I got an image from a client. Go to that client's folder, go under the images that they've sent you.
Uh,
It's going to be there.
yeah, it's things. I don't know if when you get really busy, sometimes things get lost. How often do we spend time hunting for something, especially
Yeah.
with all those four Greg files?
Side note, a long time ago, my wife's mother called her and she couldn't find I guess she was working on a Word document and saved it. And she called Jamie and said, I can't find the file I was working on. And Jamie was like, well, where did you save it? And she was like, I saved it in Word.
Oh.
And we're like, Word is not a location. You saved a Word file, but where did you save it to?
Did you
But
find
she didn't understand that originally that there was a spot on the computer that things saved to. Um, she just was like, "Well, I was in Word and I saved it in Word."
it? I don't know. I do have some untitled documents in my Google Drive, which means they haven't been saved properly. So, and I do have a large download trap on my computer that I never want to look at because I should clean it off. Wow. How many of us clean off our computers regularly? Ooh, what a good question,
We
Greg.
talked about this earlier, like, and so this is sort of my desktop. I like it to be clean and not cluttered with all kinds of links and files and things, but to be as efficient as possible, a lot of the times I might save something to my desktop and then file it away after. And if I do that a bunch of times over like a week or two or three or however long it is, my desktop gets a little bit piled up. So I'll have to take a morning or an hour and be like, okay, I got to clean up my desktop and file those files on my desktop into the appropriate client folders so that it's clean again. And
Mm,
so a lot of the time, if I'm saving something out of an email, I'll save it to the desktop as opposed to saving it and trying to figure out where the client folder I want to save it under,
mm,
and then do whatever the task is,
yeah.
and then file it away later. So
I heard this story a long time ago, and it's about how to be not a clutter bug, and that means on your computer too, which means count how many piles you have around your office for piles that you use, right? So including the piles on your computer. So like your download bin or like your desktop or you know, and if you can consolidate that into like maybe two versus seven, you're probably better off, right? So taking that approach to having a filter system so you don't feel cluttered everywhere. I mean, yeah, I thought that was a really good way to do it. What do you think?
yeah, yeah, it's good. I don't.
Priabo?
I guess I kind of do that on my desktop because when I do save things on my desktop, I have it sort of in a specific location on the desktop. Like one
That's
spot
what
is all.
stacks are. Because they will file all your images on your desktop or all your PDFs together. It's quite nice. All your screenshots, because who doesn't take a ton of screenshots? Bonnie is saying Bonnie's saying she agrees, and of course she does. She does the exact same thing. So yeah, I think marketers, I think we might be there's just so much going on for each of our clients. I think many of us might be a little cluttered, right? So yeah.
No, there was not an article, but someone we talked about the other day, and I sent you that link, and they have a quiz to figure out what type of organizational
That's
person
right,
you
the
are.
bug one. You sent it. I'm gonna go look for that, guys. I'll post that in the group today. I think it's the
And there were like four different types of clutter bugs, is what this lady calls them. And you could figure out what type of clutter bug you are based on your style. Like, do you like things like minimal and put away? Do you like things like out in the open so you know where to grab it?
right.
Different things like that. It'll tell you
What were the
what your
names? The names
tendencies
were
are.
funny. The names were like I don't know, ladybug.
Ladybug, or yeah,
Oh, there
I
was
don't
a
remember.
firefly. There was a cricket. Right? Oh, Greg, you got to go and post that in the group. So, guys, how do you declutter? That's what we want to know because we're here to help each other. And I mean, Greg and I were almost perfect. It's true. No, I'm so joking. We are constantly trying to figure out how to do things better, and that's why we're in it together. Because marketing is a group effort. Oh my God, I got to throw that in like 5 minutes early. Yeah. But Greg, so how do you is do you have a system for other stuff like that you file?
For me, maybe this is different for other people, but I would say the biggest thing to be efficient is to try to stay on task and not get distracted with something.
Hmm.
If something does distract you, re- try to realize it right away. I have a pen and paper next to me open all the time, a notebook,
Hmm.
and if something interests me or I'm like, oh, I need to look at that later, I will make a note of it in my book to remind me to
Cookies.
when I'm finished what I'm working on to go look into that.
Yeah.
Um,
In-
and the other thing too, desk like computer related, because I'm in a browser constantly, I use Chrome, and I have all of my bookmarks and quick links basically synced to everything that I use that's Chrome. So, and I have it really well organized in the things I do every day. I have at the top quick links to get to each one.
I like that
Um,
a lot.
I have then a folder of other bookmarks that are separated work, personal, and I have a Google one. And the Google one basically has a link to every, like my MCC account, analytics,
Uh,
Search Console, like so I can just go to my bookmarks and
do,
click it as opposed to, because I don't know.
oh,
One thing I really hate about Chrome, or I think this is more a Chrome thing, is they never give you the domain as the option. So when you go to type
oh,
to go somewhere,
yeah.
they always want you to search because they make money off search.
Mm.
The
Well,
first thing when you start typing in a domain, it's always like X domain space
yeah.
something to make it a search, not to actually go specifically to that domain.
Well, that's
So
why
I like to
I,
have the folders to click.
that's why in Google My Business, you'll see when Google describes their searches, the discovery search. That is why. For sure. I get that. So answer me this. When you do your bookmarks, like, is it, so my friend Janet, she would do client bookmark and have all the different things she uses for that client in a file as a bookmark, and she just click on it and it would all open, right? When she was beginning work. Thought that was pretty brilliant. But is it just you have quick bookmarks like Google Analytics, Search Console, Google Ads, like, or,
Yeah. And so the only other thing client related that I do have bookmarked is I have a folder that's labeled site maintenance.
uh,
And under site maintenance, I have a link to every website's admin that I actually maintain the plugins and the updates and security and backups and stuff for.
oh my God, Greg, guess what? How did that happen?
Time.
Out of time. Oh my goodness. Okay. And
We
I
should have been more efficient.
I thought we covered it all, guys. So if you missed it, if you're still with us, there were a bunch of things, but there was one major question in there, which was, how do you declutter um, your stuff? Let's help each other out. If you have a way you do things that could help another person, I don't know, mention it down below. But great, we're done. So what's next week? It's oh my God, is it October?
Next week,
No.
yeah, it's like the very, very early October, I think.
Okay. So, hey, we have a really interesting topic next week. Greg, do you know what it is?
No. You should
Uh,
just stop asking me that.
I should stop asking you, but it's how to best. You guys are gonna love this because this leaves it pretty wide open, but it's gonna be an interesting talk. So we're gonna answer the question: how to best utilize your marketing budgets.
Right.
So join us for that. That is next week, 11 a.m. Pacific time, right here. We talk all about marketing, and yeah, thanks for joining us. We love it. Greg, I'll see you next week.
All right.
See you
Bye, everyone.
guys. Don't get captured.
Make good choices.
Bye.